The Nazi concentration camp system is astonishing in its cruelty and inhumanity, making one question the mental health of its creators. Gas chambers, crematoria, marsh camps. This is only a small part of the horrifying legacy of the Nazi regime during the Second World War. The methods of mass extermination varied, but all had one goal: the total elimination of undesirable elements. However, there were also places where death was not instantaneous, but the result of grueling labor. One such place was the infamous Stairway of Life in the Mauthausen Concentration Camp. Today it has many names, but in the memories of the prisoners it appears exactly as the Ladder of Life. This name carries a bitter irony. It could both prolong a prisoner's existence and cut it short. Upon arrival at Mauthausen, we were met by an SS officer. His words etched in my memory were, "Germany needs your hands. You will work. But remember, you will never see your families again. Those who come here leave only through the crematorium." Mauthausen was not just a separate concentration camp, but an entire system. It included the main camp and 49 branch camps, forming a network of 50 concentration camps. This is important to realize when talking about the scale of the Nazi extermination machine. The Mauthausen quarry, located 800 meters from the camp, was a real hell for the prisoners. The infamous staircase consisted of 186 steps, which even without a load exhausted the prisoners' strength. The working day began at 7 a.m. and by 8 a.m. many of the prisoners could not bear the strain and remained in the quarry forever. The concentration camp was located only 5 kilometers from the town of the same name, with a population of about 5,000 people. This is comparable to a quarter of the capacity of a modern soccer stadium. Such proximity emphasizes the monstrous contrast between ordinary life and the horrors of the camp. Mauthausen was not just another concentration camp, but Hitler's personal project. Its main purpose was to mine granite for an ambitious plan to rebuild the Austrian city of Linz. The daily agony of the prisoners at Mauthausen consisted of endless climbing up and down stairs with heavy stones. Driven to despair, some tried to run to the live barbed wire. Most did not make it even 1 meter. Guards sometimes played a cruel game of inciting prisoners to escape, only to shoot them while attempting to escape. The rare occasions when the guards refused to recognize this as an escape attempt ended with their dismissal and disappearance. There were rumors that their bodies were found at the bottom of the quarry. The Nazis did not use machinery to transport the quarried granite. Instead, the prisoners carried the stones on their shoulders on a specially built ladder. Initially, the steps were simply cut into the ground, but quickly fell into disrepair. The uneven clay steps would soak in the rain, causing mass falls of the prisoners. The stairway of death consisted of 186 steps leading to unimaginable suffering. Every day, exhausted, tormented people climbed it, carrying granite blocks weighing from 20 to 50 kilograms on their shoulders. For many prisoners, this burden was heavier than their own weight, dried up by hunger and hard labor, but the stairs themselves were only a prelude to the real nightmare. At the top, an even worse ordeal awaited the prisoners. The warders, reveling in their power, lined up the exhausted people on the edge of the cliff. Then began a terrible roulette. Every 5th person was offered a monstrous choice: to push his neighbor or jump himself. There was no mercy for those who, in the opinion of the Nazis, brought a stone that was not heavy enough. Although the notion of lightness lost all meaning when one had to make 10-12 ascents with a 50-kilogram load in a day. The Mauthausen concentration camp and its infamous staircase operated for 7 long years from 1938 to 1945. According to official figures, some 350,000 people passed through this hell. However, the real number of victims was probably much higher, because by 1944, sensing defeat, the Nazis stopped registering newly arrived prisoners. Among the prisoners of Mauthausen were people of different nationalities. At least 40,000 Soviet citizens are known to have passed through the death camp. A French prisoner recalled, "There were about 10,000 Frenchmen. Only 3,000 returned home." The fate of Spanish prisoners was no less tragic. Of the 8,000 who arrived in 1941, only 1,600 survived by April 1945. Czech prisoners also suffered enormous losses. Only 300 of the approximately 3,000 prisoners returned home. The fate of Jews and Russians was particularly hard. They were usually assigned to teams with the most grueling labor conditions. Most of them did not survive longer than 3 months, making it extremely difficult to count their losses. In the final days of the Mauthausen Concentration Camp, a dramatic liberation scene played out. As Allied troops approached, the Nazi commanders fled, leaving only 30 SS guards behind. However, by the time American troops arrived, the prisoners had already revolted and eliminated most of the guards on their own. The stairs of Mauthausen have survived to this day. Partially restored, it stands as a silent witness to the horrors of the past. In the modern world, however, its significance is often downplayed, presenting it only as part of an ordinary labor camp. One veteran visiting the camp many years later could not bring himself to climb those steps. Memories of the daily climb, when each step could have been the last in life, are deeply etched in the memories of the survivors. Friends, subscribe to the channel and write comments what you think about it.